Good evening, everyone. I will call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will get started. There is no public comment, correct, for the budget. But we will start with Gary Bennett for the approved budget document.
So the approved budget document has been posted since the packet went out. It's been posted on our website for longer than that. It's the same that was in it's virtually the same as what was approved by the budget committee. Only there's one more column on it that says approved instead of just proposed. I haven't heard any comments or questions from the board. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take those. If not, we can move on to the action items if the board is ready.
I would just say to anybody listening, we got a great chance to ask a bunch of questions at the budget committee hearing. So if you're wondering why we're not asking questions right now, those are all available for you to go back and watch at your leisure.
Perfect. Okay, if there is a motion, I'll hear it.
I move to approve the resolution adopting the budget for the 2026-2027 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on.
I move to approve the resolution making appropriations for the 2026-27 school year.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
And wait, there's more.
Yeah, there is.
I move to approve the resolution imposing and categorizing taxes for the 2026-27 school year.
There's a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now moving on to our recognition of our 2025-26 retirees with Amanda Hollenberg.
Thank you. Good afternoon, early evening, everyone. Today is a very special opportunity for us to come together and celebrate the remarkable careers and lasting impact of our retiring staff members. Choosing a career in education is far more than choosing a job. It is choosing a calling. It is work rooted in service, compassion, patience, and an unwavering belief in the potential of others. Every day, educators and school staff shape lives, build communities, and help create brighter futures for our students and families. There are a few professions, I believe, that leave such a lasting mark on the world. Thank you. Today, we honor individuals who have dedicated years, and in some cases, decades, to this very important work. Their influence extends far beyond the classrooms, offices, hallways, and campuses at which they work. Their legacy lives on in the students they have inspired, the colleagues they have supported, and the communities like ours they have strengthened. We are incredibly grateful for each one of you, your commitment to the Sherwood School District, the leadership, and the countless ways you all have made a difference here. It is truly a privilege to celebrate each one of you. Before we begin, I want to note that we've had 2 retirees that weren't able to attend tonight. Unfortunately, last minute changes, Lance Thurman and Cynthia Walker. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Adam Mitchell to begin our celebrations.
All right. Thank you for having us here tonight. We are incredibly excited to honor these retirees, starting with Mrs. McKennett. I have kind of 2 parts here, some things from sort of the administrative lens, as well as some from your department. So some wonderful things about you from some different viewpoints. When I think of Carol, we talk at Sherwood High School a lot about being the Bowman family. And Carol exemplifies that. She lives it. She loves it. She is the Bowman family. And one thing that I always notice when in my role, we go to a ton of events, a ton of games, a ton of activities. And it is a constant that Carol is sitting about halfway up on the left side in the stands, in the seats, wherever it may be. And when you ask her about it, like, Carol, what's going on? What are you doing here? These are my kids. I'm here to see my kids. I'm here to see my students. I'm here to see all of the students. And it's, she lives that every day. It's not just about the wonderful work she does in the classroom. It's about the whole student and being there to support the student as they're being successful at Sherwood High School. And she lives that. In fact, her kids graduated from Sherwood High School. So not only is she invested for the current students, but she lived in the area and chose for her students to go to Sherwood High School because she believes in the Bowman family. And one of my favorite things is on Spirit Days, she's got the old school Letterman's jacket from her when her kids were there, and she wears it every time we have Bowman Spirit or whatever it might be during that week. But you can always see her running around the hallways and in class with that jacket on. Both proud of the S on it as well as her kid's name on it. Obviously proud as a mom, but also to get to go to Sherwood High School. Carol was meant to be a statistics teacher. And I don't mean that figuratively. A very not super common fact, her dad was the first, I'm going to get this sort of right, computer statistics professor at Arizona State University. And Carol graduated high school a year early so that she could join that program and her dad at Arizona State. And that has taken her all the way through to this long career here at Sherwood High School. And so we just really appreciate everything that you've done, everything you give to the kids, and the way that you do support the Bowman family. It's really a model that's going to be missed, and we appreciate it. As I said, I've got some from your department, so here we go. Carol McKenna is retiring this year after 23 years at Sherwood High School. Over more than 2 decades, she's taught nearly every course our math department offers, and for many of those years, she was our go-to for everything statistics, probability, geometry, and data science. She's also one of our department's quiet leaders, mentoring new teachers year after year, including walking colleagues through teaching statistics for the first time. But the numbers that really describe Carol are the people. She's one of the last to leave the building most days, and she's the teacher many students call the kindest they have ever had. After 23 years of steady, generous service, Carol is retiring to spend more time with her family, including a granddaughter who is the light of her life. On behalf of everyone at Sherwood High School, thank you, Carol. You've made a lasting difference. Thank you.
Say something?
No,
Okay.
unless you want to. I'd like to turn over to Gia Saporito for our next retiree.
Good evening, Chair Carson, members of the board, Dr. Downs. Thank you so much for organizing such a wonderful night to honor our retirees. I'm both sad and excited to send Lori off into retirement. She holds a really special place in my heart. And I'll tell you why. When I met Lori, it was just about 4 years ago to the day. I had just been offered the director position with the district, and I was touring the 6 schools before the teams would leave for the summer. And when I got to the high school, I met Lori in the staff room, and she welcomed me, and she handed me this card. These are here for me. I've kept it all of these years. It was man, I still have 3 pages to go. It was my first welcome to Sherwood, and I hadn't even started the job yet. And when I look back on this, I smile because it's so you. You have such a way of making people feel seen and valued and welcomed, and I'm going to keep this forever. Shortly after that, I met Lori for the second time. When she would interview for the Sherwood High School manager position. And I was sitting on the interview panel, and After we went through all of our questions for her, we asked, do you have any questions for us? And she said, after everything that I've said, is there anything that would stop you from picking me as the kitchen manager? And I just smiled and I thought to myself, this is my girl. And that would be the first decision that I would make as a director here for the district. And it was the best decision, surprise to no one, that I could have made. Before I get ahead of myself, I should start at the beginning. Lori joined Sherwood School District in 2015 as a floater, back before floaters had set hours. She later moved into a position at Archer Glen, spent a few years there, then at the Ridges before she would find her home at Sherwood High School, where she's been there for about 5 years, 4 years as the kitchen manager. I'd like to highlight just a few of the many impressive accomplishments from those 10 years. The first demonstrates Lori's dedication and love for her students. During the COVID pandemic, you'll remember that that time was marred with uncertainty and fear. And there were days when the skies were red and there was soot in the air from the fires in the area. And through all of that, Lori and the nutrition services team continued to show up to work when everything around us had stopped so that they could be ready for any student who needed them. What you and the team did during that time was brave and selfless. And I hope that you never forget what you did for the community during that time, because those students never will, and we never will. If there is one theme throughout Lori's 10 years with Sherwood, it's advocacy. Her work on the Sherwood School District OSCA Executive Board reflects that commitment. Lori has advocated for nutrition services staff through contract negotiations and played an important role in updating contract language related to nutrition staff covering manager positions and receiving manager pay. She dedicated herself to this work, attending OSCA state conferences to deepen her understanding of union leadership and labor relations so that she could be better for her colleagues. She has been a trusted resource and a fierce advocate for the nutrition services team. For the past 6 years, Lori has served on the executive board as the public relations chair, and in that role, she sends birthday cards, congratulations, get well wishes, and sympathy cards to each classified staff member across the district. And what people don't know is that those cards are blank until she fills them with a personal message for that person, and that's like whatever it is that they're commemorating with the card. And I think that that's just another example of your thoughtfulness and the care that you bring to every single thing that you do. I reached out to OSCA President Patina Fiken, who wanted to share these words with you. As we recognize and celebrate Lori and her retirement, I want to share just how much she has meant to so many of us. She has been a passionate advocate for nutrition services staff, a dedicated member of our union executive board, and someone who has consistently led with kindness, integrity, and heart. Working alongside her has truly been a joy. Over the years, she has become not only a respected colleague, but also a friend. Her ability to support others, listen with compassion, and bring positivity into every room will be deeply missed. While it's hard to imagine our team without her, I could not be happier for her as she begins this next chapter, spending more time with her family and grandbabies. Thank you, Lori, for everything you have given to our staff and our union. Your impact will continue long after your retirement, and you'll be incredibly missed. Under her leadership, students have had access to meals that not only look great, not only taste great, but the students are actually excited about. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. This past fall, Lori was recognized through the Fan of a Bowman program that Sherwood High School staff members anonymously recognize each other for making a difference. She will admit she was slightly concerned when the principal and the 3 associate principals unexpectedly showed up in her office. Fortunately, it was a good visit. The recognition read, Lori always has a smile on her face and goes above and beyond helping our students and staff. The breakfasts and lunches look great and offer many choices for students. You can see she really cares about all of our students. Josh Pratt, one of our outstanding associate principals, who has been working closely with Lori over the past few years, shared this. Lori is one of the most dedicated staff members at the high school. She cares so deeply about kids and makes sure they are well fed for the day. She works tirelessly to provide so many great culinary options for kids while also supporting her team. We have been so lucky to have her leading our nutrition services team. While we are sad to see her go, we hope she enjoys time with her family and grandkids. As a part of my retirement tradition for my team, I gather work history to calculate the number of meals served over a retiree's career. And so 10 years of claims data has calculated out to Lori being a part of serving over 550,000 meals to our community's students. So over 500,000. Wow. Wow. Lori is looking forward to spending more time with her family, spoiling her 5 grandchildren, and going on adventures with her husband, Mark. They will be camping, boating, and I hope having all of the fun in the world. I am so incredibly happy for you. You have given so much to our students, our staff, and our department, and to me personally. More than 550,000 meals served is an incredible legacy. Thank you for making all of our days a little brighter with your kindness, your dedication, and your heart. I have loved working alongside you, and I'm truly going to miss you. Congratulations on your retirement, Lori. You have earned every moment and the adventures ahead. Okay. And with that, I would like to introduce Natasha Ettinger, principal of Middleton Elementary.
Yes. Yes, Melinda, you have to come up. Before I start on Melinda, I have to add to what Adam said about Carol, because she taught 2 of my 3 kids. And not only does she sit in the stands in the gym, she was at a cross-country meet in McMinnville this year. So it's not just home things, it's away things, and cross-country meets are no joke. So extra round of applause for that. Okay, we actually have 4 retirees at Middleton this year. Michelle Wanicky retired in December. Jeff Schott, a 5th grade teacher, is also retiring as soon as school's out. And Claudia Mills, one of our longtime instructional assistants. But only Melinda could make it tonight. So only she gets a speech. Melinda told me I am not allowed to cry. And I basically do everything Melinda says. So I'm not going to think or feel. I'm only going to read. Here we go. I often joke that we all know who actually runs the school, and it's not the principal. Everyone knows that the true leaders in the school are the secretaries and the custodians. While I say it in jest, everyone knows it's actually true. If you've ever had the pleasure of visiting Middleton Elementary anytime in the last 10 years, you have had the pleasure of being greeted by Michelle and Melinda. These 2 have been the face of Middleton for the past 10 years. Michelle retired in December, and it's Melinda we are honoring tonight. Melinda joined the Middleton staff in 2016 after 10 years as an instructional assistant at Boones Ferry Primary School in Wilsonville. Over the last 10 years, Melinda has worked with 4 principals, 4 instructional coaches, 1 best friend and administrative assistant, Michelle, and too many staff members, students, and parents to count. And the most amazing part is that Melinda has developed deep relationships with every single person, staff members, students, and parents. This is no easy task and could almost be a full-time job in and of itself. But somehow Melinda ends up getting all the other parts of her job done as well. Daily attendance, countless health room visits, calling parents of sick kids, cleaning up vomit. That actually happened today because we currently do not have a daytime custodian. Facilities scheduling, answering phones, handing out tooth necklaces, the list goes on and on. And she manages to do all of this while being interrupted by the phone and office doorbell 1,000 times a day. Doesn't this sound like the worst job ever? But Melinda will tell you it is the best job, and she means it. I heard her tell someone these very words last week. The relationships Melinda has built over the last 10 years are what has made it the best job for her. She loves every single staff member and student and knows the story of every single family who comes through our doors. She takes time to listen to people. She remembers the stories they tell her. She follows up with them the next time she sees them. She stops what she's doing and allows herself to be interrupted 1,000 times a day. And then you throw in an unplanned fire drill, a lockdown drill that I purposefully didn't tell her about, a broken arm from a monkey bar fall and a 911 call. That happened last week. On top of all the daily work, the relationships, and the constant interruptions, Melinda is also the first responder in all of these circumstances. She grabs her radio and clipboard when the fire alarm sounds. She takes off running. When everyone else is panicking when a child falls off the monkey bars, Melinda stays calm. She tells everyone else what to do, and she calls 911. Melinda is often the calm in the storm. So when I jokingly say that our secretaries run the school, I am not at all joking. Melinda knows the history of the school and all of our families. She knows the inner workings far more than anyone else does, and she handles the emergencies like a pro. To say she will be missed is an understatement. We are better because of Melinda, but Middleton will never be the same without her. While we are sad to see her go, we all wish her the very best in her retirement. She has most definitely earned it. I think next up is Casey Jebbins.
I definitely won't cry. So Tom joined us in 2015 to be a school bus driver. He had worked for the Boy Scouts for eons before that. And he decided that he wanted to be a school bus driver and he wanted to take field trips. And I thought about all the statistics I could give you, the 100 and some odd thousand students that he's interacted with on his route in the last 11 years, the 150,000 miles he's driven his bus. But the one that struck me the most was one of his favorite trips is to take the students to France. And I looked back and there are approximately 35 trips to France over the last 3 years. And Tom took all but 3 of them. It's a joke in our office that we know when Tom's been to France because our table in our front office is filled with Franz donuts. And it has been a blessing to watch him interact with his kids and the parents and the teachers that go there, the football players and the different people that he gets to interact with. And he will be missed. And we are very glad to see him move on. It has been a challenging few years with health and some loss. And now you get to move on to a new and exciting adventure of being retired.
Well, I don't know why you guys want to make us cry all the time. It's just, Gia. No, I can't help but feel all of the directors up here talking about the people that drive the machine of their departments. You can really get a sense of family and a sense of how integral and special and important you are to all of our students in our schools. And it just hearing everyone describe the retirees, it makes me so sad. Like, why are they leaving? Like, why can't they stay longer? Because it seems like you're so special to the Bowman family and Sherwood. And I do, as much as I wish you all the best in retirement and adventures galore, we will miss you. We definitely will miss you. So thank you so much for your service to the district.
And I just want to say on behalf of our team, sincere gratitude, my gratitude and appreciation to you. And also to the other retirees tonight who aren't able to join us, but who are probably not listening live. But I wanted to say that, we thank you for choosing us. And I think, what's been special to hear is just the connections you make that are like, we can't put that in a job description. What those folks just said about you and what you've done. And the memories, and there's so many more that you have, so many stories that you had. But for me, it's the impact that you've had on others. And that's what's special about Sherwood. And it's about the relationships. And I hope you're not a stranger to us. And I hope we still see you at events and things, at whatever works for you, whatever timeline works. But when you get that call to sub, that will be, each of you be prepped for that. But I just want to say on behalf of our team how thankful we are for you choosing Sherwood. So before you take off this evening, and there may be some other comments, but we do want a picture with the team and whoever spoke about you. So if we just come up here with our board, we're going to get a quick picture before we send you on your way. So come on up.
Like the laser light one or something like that?
Yeah.
Come up and take a picture if you want. You guys got it. Yeah.
Everybody. He loves being there. Sorry, now I'm in the middle of this photo. Weird. You can do the sorority squat. Yeah, he loves that. No, he really loves it. I'm like.
Good shot here, man.
And he loves working for us.
Harmony's the nice one.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Harmony's the nice one. She was up here thinking about nice ways to keep you, and I was like, what kind of recreation? Feel like we're revoke a retirement and yeah.
I'll sign that. I'll sign that.
Thank you. Well, you were the best.
Loved every minute.
Yeah.
What's that? You will.
Well, you are more than welcome to stay. Please don't feel like you have to.
Yeah, but they were already gone.
They won't. Okay, we're gonna move on to the superintendent update with Dr. Downs.
Good evening. In lieu of that, and in honoring tonight of us heading over to the senior awards, I just want to take my time to just thank Marlene Carroll, who, for those of you who don't know, after 7 years with us as, first of all, a director of teaching and learning, but then most recently, the last several years as assistant superintendent, has been selected as the new superintendent at Corbett School District. And so a big congratulations to you. And yeah, we feel about. I wanted to say, just on behalf of, again, of our exec team and of our leadership and of our staff, and I know our kids have greatly benefited from her leadership, her guidance, her just joyful personality, and the discernment she's brought to this job. She was incredibly instrumental in welcoming me onto this new team. And in so many ways, she dealt with all the questions. And so, Marlene, you are going to have an incredible experience. I hope you love being a superintendent. It's a wonderful job. And I hope you, obviously stay in touch with us. And on just behalf of our team, I just wanted to take my update time to just say thank you. And so you will be missed, and Corbett is lucky to have you. So congratulations.
Okay, moving on to board updates. I'm not sure, anyone? Yes, you may.
I'll make it short and sweet. We do have an awards ceremony tonight, but this last 6 weeks or so, I've been privileged and lucky enough to help out at the high school. And there are a number of adult community members that do this in certain classes. But I was lucky enough to participate with some of the science classes. And I don't want to slight anybody. If I forgot names, I want to mention 3 teachers who I was associated with during this period of time, doing some review work and some, just working with the students. And I would say that, well, the teachers are Raditz, Thurman, and King. Thurman is retiring. So to everyone who's listening, so sad you can't take a class from him. King has 1 more year, and Raditz is going to be around for a while. So I would say to the community, they teach they do teach advanced classes as well as some introductory classes. But I would say, don't be afraid of these more advanced classes. It's where they really shine. It is where they really make it possible, literally for any student to accomplish an AP class or a more advanced class. So don't shy away from these things just because of the title. They know how to do it. It is amazing to watch them teach. I was so impressed and really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, I will say, we did get a chance to, all of us, the board got a chance to go to the high school and tour classes and to the middle school. And um, I'll speak for myself. I loved it. I think all the rest of the board members loved it. I think it's definitely something we look forward to every year and want to keep doing because it reminds us of what's actually happening in the classroom. And forensic science, what a hoot. Like, you want to see a dead possum, let's do it. I mean, it was so fun that the whole class was interactive. They were solving murders. Not that that's fun, but it's part of the class. But we got to see ninth grade language arts, and they were doing Shakespearean court and Socratic method. And it was so amazing to see these ninth graders citing Romeo and Juliet and making their cases to each other. And I'm so excited for my daughter to do that next year. We got to see the prom assembly at the high school, which was so fun. And then we got to go to the middle school and see computer science and outdoor living and FACS class and sewing and baking. And we came on Cupcake Day, which was great. My daughter's friends were in there. They promised me a cupcake. Okay. So no, it was really fun and a highlight for us. And I think as a board, it's really important for us to get in the schools and see what's going on and be a part of it and be reminded of how special Sherwood is. So that's my report. Why did that? We're going to move on to consent agenda. Is there a motion to pass?
I motion to pass the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. There is no public comment tonight, so we will go straight to information discussion and third-party survey update with Marlene Carroll.
All right. Okay, so we're excited to share with you the results and our next steps for our Studer survey. As a reminder, this is our third-party survey, which means it's from an outside company. They do all the gathering of the data. It's completely anonymous, and they aggregate it and they share the results with us, which is really nice for anonymity purposes, but it's also nice for us because we don't necessarily have the capacity to do that effectively. So we show you this slide almost every single time we present this survey, but one way to think about this a little bit differently is considering this green arrow that you see, the outline. That is now our strategic plan and how we think about our strategic plan. And perhaps one of these little areas, little arrows, is the employee experience survey and the parent caregiver survey. So we're doing a lot of different acts of improvement in this school district, and these surveys are components of that, and they're pushing us hopefully more towards that arrow on the right where we're moving all in the same direction, we're getting feedback, and we're acting on that feedback. So that is one way to kind of think about this slide a little bit differently. All right. Every year, once we gather the results, we talk about the results as an admin team. We spend quite a bit of time reviewing those, and then we begin to develop plans of action for improvement. And that's all really worked around our department improvement plans and then our school improvement plans, which are requirements, but also really good practice to just continuously grow and improve as an organization. And what's nice about this year is we're actually starting to see kind of trends in our data because we've been doing the survey for some time, so we can actually see where we've made growth, which we haven't really had the opportunity to do in the past. Just as a reminder, as we look through this data, this is a quote that it's really important to be mindful of as outside reviewers of data. So when we think about data, we just really try hard to think about it as not just a blunt instrument for imposing sanctions and making rules or offering rewards, but that it's really used as a way to deepen our understanding of what's happening both operationally and instructionally, and provide us insights about improvement. So when we see something come back, we try to act on it with a really well-rounded, holistic approach versus just, okay, well, then we're getting rid of this entirely. All right, we're going to start with the employee experience. And the employee experience, here's just a quick bit of information in case you don't remember, but it's an opportunity to assess how well the overall work environment is and how our employees are really experiencing their area of work. So either the school or the district, we ask questions about both of those things. And we ask for any information around areas that they think we can improve, or any areas that they may need support or something that would make their workplace, their general work environment better. And this is open for about 2 weeks every year. Okay. As you can see with this slide, this is our participation and our overall mean and our top box scores. So that's just important information to see the kind of comparison over the course of the 3 years. You'll notice that we had more people participating in the spring of 2024. We also had more staff at that time. But in general, we're around the same amount of participation. And even with that, we see a slight increase there. Okay. This next slide is one thing that it's really nice to kind of have your survey done by somebody else because they bring their expertise to you and aggregate that information for you and then give you the data. So we review Net Promoter Scores for all of our school buildings as well as our district. And so tonight I'm showing you our district based off of the employee experience. And what a Net Promoter Score is many companies use this, many school districts use this. Your company might even use it yourself. But it's essentially a measurement tool to understand customer or employee or any really stakeholder satisfaction. And so they use the question, how likely are you to recommend this organization to a friend? And then the responses are grouped into 3 categories. So we have our promoters, our passives, and our detractors. And then the Net Promoter Score is actually calculated by using a formula of percent of promoters minus the percent of detractors. So that is what we do here, and that is how we got our scores that you see listed. By kind of industry standard, what we know is that 0 to 30 is like fair average. 30 to 50 is really strong for a Net Promoter Score, which is where we are. If you get 50 plus, you're really an excellent organization. And then 70 plus is really hard to get, but that would be like world-class, exceptional. So we're really looking to improve, but we are a strong school district based off of how our employees are feeling about us. Okay. And so one way to look at this is to kind of see your change over time with your detractor scores. And so we're noticing some trends around that. Yes, our net promoter score is getting better, but what we're also seeing is that our detractors are moving from that category into passive or promoter. And so that's really exciting news. That means people who maybe weren't thrilled with their general work environment are making shifts and starting to either be passive or promoter. Again, we see this in our immediate work area as well. So both at the district level and then within our either department or our school building. Okay. We also collect they answer a series of questions and we collect the top 3 areas that are strengths, and we collect the top 3 areas for improvement. In this case, we had a tie, so the 2 at the bottom are actually a tie, and that's why they're both included for you to see. So you'll see 4 here, but some things that are great that our employees are feeling is that they believe that their work positively impacts those we serve, which is probably one of the most important things for being at a school district. We want people to feel like their work matters. And then they have a sense of pride, and they would recommend that parents select this district for their children. So we're really proud of those, that those are our top 3. And then areas for improvement is they feel that district level resources are allocated to maximize effectiveness across the organization. I have the opportunity to provide input on decisions that affect my job. I'll just read it from here. Oh. That increased, but it's still one of the areas we want to continue to work on. I believe district level information is communicated in a timely manner across the organization. Again, that's an area that has increased, but we still want to work on it. And then I feel that the district culture supports open and honest communication. That is an area that decreased that we're going to examine as school and district leaders to kind of dig into that. All right. Now we also have a parent caregiver experience, and so we're going to jump into that. This one is a little bit different, and it's opened a little bit longer so we can try to get as many parents as possible. All right. You can see the scores there. On this one, we see that we have higher net promoter scores for from our parents, and we're really in that excellent category. And again, we're seeing some declines in our detractor scores, which means our passive and promoter scores are increasing. So we're proud of that work. And we see that again with our immediate work area. Okay. And some things that our parents said about our schools is they really do believe that the school is clean and well maintained. They're treated with respect at the school, which is something that we've seen in years past, but it's a component of this survey that's really important to us. We really want every single person, the parent and the kids, to feel truly respected and like they belong when they walk into our school buildings. And then I believe my child has the necessary classroom supplies and equipment for effective learning. And then areas for improvement. I received positive phone calls, emails, and notes about my child from school. So we saw an increase in that. It's still one of the areas that we'll work on. Our building administrators worked really hard. This was one of their goals. And so to see that it's increased is something that we're proud of, they're proud of. I regularly receive feedback from school staff on how well my child is learning. Very similar. We're seeing an increase, but still an area that we need to work on. And then I believe school rules are enforced consistently at this school. So all three areas we're seeing positive increases in, but still areas that we will continue to work on. Okay. As far as the rollout process goes, we're sharing this with you all tonight, so that's part of it. And then after this, our school leaders have had a chance to look at their data and they're creating plans to roll out their information to staff during in-service week and then to parents and families. They usually do it through site councils or through PAC meetings, things like that, and get some really focused feedback. So they might ask a question like, what is the most, like for high school, what's the best way for us to give positive feedback to families? They might ask that to their site council and really get some good description and deeper understanding of what that looks like or what that could look like, and then implement that. And so that's kind of the work that we're doing now. What questions do you have?
I was kind of surprised to see the district score from parents be higher than the school score. How do you think about, I would just guess that students would, or that parents would have more experience with their school rather than the district. So how do you think about that when you see that?
Well, you know, it is interesting because in years past, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen and in general, most of the time, you're right. Like, I think the trend is overall, and what we're told by Studer is that generally your immediate work or your immediate environment gets rated higher than at the district level. So I'm not sure what to think about that. It's pretty close. So I think probably the more people that feel good about their school, they probably also feel good about the district. And then the other thing is that's probably worth considering is you may have experience with your school, but maybe perhaps, and you're filling out the survey for just that school, right? But maybe you have 3 kids. And so you answer that district question a little bit differently than perhaps your immediate environment. But those are all speculations.
I'll just make a quick comment though. I'm having participated in these kinds of surveys many times outside of education and inside. These are the trends that I've always seen, right? It's always like when you get into the larger organization, that's where all the bureaucracy and the problem is. But of course, my little wheelhouse is working well, right? So that's kind of what I see here, right? So district level information may be a problem, but my school's running great. I would say the thing on here that tells me that things are happening really, really well is when one of your top 3 employee experience points is I would recommend that parents select my district to serve their child.
Yeah.
That's a win. That's great. I mean, if employees that are working here want to say, yeah, you absolutely should send your kid here, we're doing great. That's awesome. We should all feel good about that.
That might answer the question too about the district level data coming in because people are just looking around around other districts and seeing the cuts that have to be made outside of Sherwood.
Absolutely.
And then they think, well, maybe it's not so bad. Or maybe we are doing a really good job because my child's having a good experience at school. And my district seems to be making the right decisions in order to not be district A, B, or C that are having X, Y, and Z problems. So that could be a factor as well.
These are good scopes.
I would also add our district office has changed a little bit over the years. And I think that we have a pretty incredible team in place. And I think that everybody on that team is working really, really, really hard. And I do think families notice. I think a lot of families, it's assumed, are only paying attention to what's happening in their kids' class. But I don't think that's really true. I think that, you know, the messages, the videos, the real change that they're feeling in the atmosphere, I think it's noticed. I have people comment to me about just a different feel of this district than what they felt years ago. So I don't really think it's so accidental. I think it really is that this team has worked incredibly hard and people have felt it. So I think you guys should take credit for that and be really proud.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, next we will move on to strategic plan annual update.
with Marlene. All right. I'm going out with a bang. This is, get ready. It's a dance. All right. Welcome to the first ever strategic plan annual update. Okay, we're going to just start with something that has grounded our work over the last year, and that is how do we inspire a joyful community of learners? This was created with the Strategic Plan Design Committee last year, over the course of last year, but really last fall, and jumped into some of this work. Okay. So we have five areas that kind of we focus on quite often as leaders and in the schools, and they all revolve around our portrait of a Sherwood student. And so we're really looking to support students in being lifelong learners. We want them to be engaged citizens. We want them to be resilient and responsible. We want them to have all the skills to be collaborative and communicative. And we really want them to go out into the world after they graduate from here happy and healthy. And so those are the things that we're focused on in the district. And so there's different ways that we have shared that we would kind of hold ourselves accountable to this work, and they're listed here. So we try to hold ourselves accountable in a variety of ways between our community, our schools, our district office, and just different things that we do. So for example, the Studer surveys in here, but even the schools, we see the school scorecard or their improvement plans. We're constantly collecting student data. Our teachers are working in professional learning communities to kind of take action at the student level. And then, you hear a lot of board reports and, in terms of students and community, we do the SEED survey that's happening right now, where then we review data. We got a lot of family engagement and get feedback on that. So these are just different ways that we hold ourselves accountable to this strategic plan. Okay. As you may remember from the strategic plan, we do have some long-term goals and outcomes, and these are really tied to integrated programs for the state of Oregon. And some of the work that will need to be done is around SB 141, which we talked about in the fall, but finding different ways to fit the strategic plan and those goals and really merge them as one, which I think we as a strategic design team selected really good long-term goals and outcomes because they'll align fairly nicely with that. So, oops, that's going to go too fast. Sorry. All right. Okay, so we chose some different measurements for our strategic plan, and one of them was the pre-ACT readiness scores. Pre-ACT readiness scores are benchmark scores, and they're used to predict students' performance on the official ACT exam and in college. So they range from 1 to 35, and they help students and educators really identify whether a student is on track to be able to complete like college entry level work. So our scores are sitting right around 18.3 with 345 students participating. So we're really proud of those participation rates. We've bumped up 2 students more, which is great. But also the composite score being 18 is something to be proud of. Nationally, for students this age, the mean composite score is around 17.3, and our students are above that. One thing that we noticed is our composite score went down slightly I don't think it's necessarily anything to be concerned about, but it is something that, we are always looking at. And part of the point of the strategic plan is that you're paying attention to this data so that you don't drop the ball somewhere. And so this is just something that we continue to look at. We do have a 26-27 target of getting those scores up to 19. And we continue to think that we can do that. So. All right, our ACT readiness scores are sitting at 23.1, and 219 students took the ACT. Now, the ACT is a little bit different. We try to really encourage every single student to take the pre-ACT, and it's part of Oregon legislature. But the ACT is different because students really have a choice of whether they take it or not. And so that's why there's a significant amount less participating. So we were really trying to get our participation scores up, and with a smaller class size, we do see that we increase participation by 17 students, and we'll continue to try to do that. These tests are really designed to measure skills that are most important for success in post-secondary education, and the average score is approximately 19.4. So we're scoring considerably above average with the students that are taking this test here in Sherwood, which is great. Just to note, to be really competitive, meaning you're in the top 10% nationally, is a score of 28. And so we do see students with that score. This is a range, right? What you see here, the 23.1. And we're continuing to try to push our students towards that. So our goal for next year is getting to that 24 mark on average. Our AP participation rates, again, we're really proud of this one. One, because when you participate in AP classes, you are generally more likely to perform better when you do go to college or even in career. So the skills that you're learning in AP class, they are rigorous and they support you through your life. And so we saw 145 students more participate. We added different AP classes, and our target was 650. So we're right around there. Let's see. Okay. And then what's really exciting about our AP scores or participation is that our students are passing at a really high rate. So we're seeing 81% of our students pass. And what that means for them is generally money, right? So every class that you take that's AP is a class that you really don't have to take at the college level. And unlike dual credit, AP really is for even advanced schools, schools that maybe are Ivy League, the AP can count for. And so it just really does save our families quite a bit of money by offering these. And when you have, in Sherwood, we have 70% of our families, they're students who are college going, giving the opportunity to take these classes, doing so well in these classes is something to really celebrate. And we do have some classes that are sitting at really high scores. So for example, we have 64 students in our AP government, US government class, AP US Gov, and 95% of them pass the AP test. That's a big deal. And then US history, we have 92% passing with 132 students taking the class. And then we offered a new course for our freshmen, which is Human Geo, AP Human Geo. And 88 students took the course and 83% of them passed. That's a big deal for our freshmen. So it's something to be really proud of. You all heard last week our last month athletics and activities participation. And so we're really excited about the 1125. Okay. Our third grade English language proficiency, it's important to note that we don't have our scores back for this year. I reported on these scores in the fall, but we did increase, and we're really, we've worked really hard in literacy, and we're hoping to see this continue next year. The same is true for 8th grade math proficiency. This is part of SB 141. So we had a lot of foresight there as a strategic design team. And this is one of the accountability areas that the state will be looking at and we'll be watching very closely. We saw a 6.7% increase in our spring scores for last year, and we'll report on those again in the fall. Our 9th grade on track, which you're probably familiar with. I talk about it a lot. But we saw a 2.1% increase. And then our 4-year cohort graduation rate of 0.2%. And 5-year completer, we saw a little bit of a decline. This is probably a problem with the denominator. Same with the other one of the increase. It's just probably our amount of students that it's such a small amount at the 5-year completer rate when you have a score like this, that if you just change your denominator, it's going to change your percentage, if that makes sense. So going from like 4 students to 5 students or vice versa. And then our regular attenders is up. We're still looking to increase that. And again, this is going to be a part of the accountability metrics. And so this is an area as a state that we're really watching and trying to increase attendance because it is not easy. And so I do have some recommendations moving forward. One, because I won't be here anymore, but one thing that we've been talking about is it might be worth moving this annual update to the fall and kind of combining your integrated programs and your strategic plan into one presentation, and then you'll have all of that current data all in one. So we don't have AP participation rates we don't have AP test rates for this year because we haven't received those back. And we don't have our state tests because we're just wrapping up the state tests. And we don't have our student survey data because they're actually taking their survey this week. So that would allow for some of that information. And then the other thing is the strategic design team did talk about how we could incorporate the Studer survey goals into our strategic plan. And so creating measurements around maybe that net promoter score and increasing that, or maybe measurements around decreasing the detractors. Something like that might be useful for your strategic plan moving forward. And I think that's it. What questions do you have?
I'm not on. I don't have a question, but I was being very facetious when I was like strategic plan. And actually, this was really awesome to get the updates. I mean, sometimes it can be a little dry to talk about strategic planning just because we talk about it so much. But to get to see data and then to see, it is really cool to finally be able to track some of that and see those improvements. So, I hope this doesn't like gloss over anybody that's actually listening. It's really great information. I appreciated it. Thank you.
I think the move to the fall is a really good idea.
Yeah.
To get this snapshot at the beginning of the school year rather than at the end, because that can, not only inform everything we do over a year, but then it's just nice to get it when it's the fall and we are all filled with energy rather than in the spring, kind of as a cap on what we've already done. So I think that's a great idea. And to kind of echo what Abby said, a lot of integrated programs reporting is pretty dry and stale and state mandated. And it is hopefully people appreciate seeing the district take performance seriously and accountability seriously, and, you know, continuing to add rather than just do the bare minimum.
Good job. She went out with a bang. All right, we're gonna move on to action items and we're gonna get right to it because there are no questions or comments with the 5 action items. So I am going to begin with, is there a motion for A, appropriations transfer Fund 100 General Fund?
I would like to recommend a motion to adopt the resolution for appropriations transfer Fund 100 General Fund as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. B, appropriations transfer Fund 200 Special Revenue Fund. Do I have a motion?
I would like a motion to adopt the resolution for appropriations transfer Fund 200 Special Revenue Fund as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. C, secondary social science instructional materials second read. Is there a motion?
I would like to motion to adopt the proposed secondary science instructional materials as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. D, local wellness policy update second read. Is there a motion?
I would like to motion to adopt the local wellness policy update as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Last E, Sherwood Charter School contract approval. Is there a motion?
I would like to motion to adopt the proposed contract between the Sherwood School District and the Sherwood Charter School contract as presented for a 5-year duration, July 1, 2026 to June 30, 2031.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The next organizational board meeting will be on July 1 at 9 a.m. And this meeting is adjourned.